People are reselling McDonald's bags to K-pop fans who want the BTS meal packaging. And this is what I call entrepreneurship, aka what I thought I would get out of business school, as opposed to a lifelong aversion to the phrase, leverage our synergies. Hey, it's Nicole, you don't care that much, let's move on. BTS, the biggest K-pop boy band right now, recently released a collaboration with McDonald's, the BTS meal. The BTS meal includes 10 chicken nuggets, 2 sauces inspired by Korean flavors, a medium Coke, and a side of fries for about $10. Not exactly sure how K-pop's and McDonald's brands overlap, as for me, McDonald's triggers war flashbacks to when I thought that liking soggy fries was a personality trait. What's in the BTS meal isn't special. You might say that, well, the draw is in the BTS packaging, but some fans have actually gone out to purchase these meals only to find that even in its own hometown of America, McDonald's doesn't give a shit. McDonald's. Chicken nuggets with a side of disappointment. McDonald's. Filling your empty void. McDonald's. Filling your hole. Perhaps not the last one. The pull here, and what's a lot more interesting, is the power of BTS's brand and K-pop in general, especially their dominance in American culture today. K-pop has been popular in the West for a while, but I wasn't really with it. Don't get me wrong, this is a neutral video as I'm neither a fan nor a hater. For me, it was one of those situations where you know something is a thing, but you actively choose to remain ignorant of it, like me and a good night's sleep. I'm not going to go too deep into history, otherwise this video would be over an hour long, but my first K-pop memory was in 2009. 2009 was a big year for us. Grindr launched, Michael Jackson died, Kanye West and Taylor Swift began their blood feud, and to cope with all that, I guess, people were dancing and flash mobbing, often to Sorry Sorry by Super Junior. Then in 2012, and presumably I was still alive for this, Gangnam Style came out and blew up across the entire world. Gangnam Style was a song referencing rich people's lifestyle in a trendy area of Korea. It featured a catchy beat and a weird-ass cowboy dance that you saw everyone doing everywhere all the time. Gangnam Style really paved the way for mainstream media's increasing fascination with K-pop and other commercialized aspects of Korean culture. None of this was an accident. There are many reasons why K-pop is such a phenomenon, and what's most interesting about it is how much of it was carefully planned. We typically think of culture as something we can't necessarily control, but South Korea has done pretty much exactly that, promoting Korean and K-pop culture across the world.
South Korea exported $12 billion worth of exports of cultural products and services.
South Korea uses K-pop essentially as national PR.
The government's support for these industries is part of a strategy to gain soft power, a country's ability to build international influence through its culture.
And has a whole Ministry of Culture that invests in and promotes Korean culture overseas. In 2021, they had a huge budget, some of which may have gone into the BTS chicken nugget makeover. And historically, K-pop groups have done a lot with celebrities to increase visibility. They also diversify their investments, going into K-dramas, esports, K-beauty, etc. But all the promotion in the world ultimately doesn't mean as much without a standout product. There's something special about K-pop music. Like it or hate it, it's reverse engineered to appeal to pop listeners' tastes and a global audience. K-pop adapted Western music trends, beats, and fashion, especially from Black culture. There are also a lot of random English words just thrown around in K-pop songs.
Don't deny our R squared pie.
Not R squared pie. I could watch these compilations all day, so I'm going to include my other favorites at the end of the video. Anyway, the random assortment of English is something I see a lot happening in Asian countries where they just spill alphabet soup all over clothing just to seem more hip and global. These are all photos that I took in Taiwan. To be fair to this one, people do say chai tea in America. The songs themselves are also engineered to be earworms. There's a study comparing BTS to Western artists across several dimensions. The finding was that 1, danceability and energy, which are key to a hit song today, were on par with or even overshot the dimensions of Western artists. 2, something called the speechiness dimension was much higher and instrumentalness much lower. This means that compared to other artists in the study, BTS had more spoken words and less vocals. Another obvious area where K-pop crushes a lot of American music groups is in performance quality and production. The music videos are flashy, high effort, and involve a lot of intense choreography. I mean, look at this. This is a dance rehearsal and they're all in heelys. The precision and effort required is so impressive, but unfortunately this group disbanded. Time does not heal all wounds. Even live performances have no comparison. They just can't compare on the entertainment factor. Like, yes, I know they're performing in different places, but one clearly just has a lot more effort to it. This is because it's not just the music that is engineered. Stars themselves are created in what's been described as a factory-like system and then sold to the public as products. Large studios accept talented teens and then place them into special schools where they learn singing, dancing, and behaving in public.
때부터 춤을 배우고 있었다. 아니면은 어렸을 때부터 가수가 되고 싶었었다. 그 친구가 너무 가까운 곳에 있잖아요.
These kids sacrifice their childhoods for intense training and spend their weekends performing in talent shows. Despite this grueling work, only a small percentage actually get placed into a K-pop group, which also depends on the mix of personalities that they're trying to put together. From there, the studios micromanage each aspect of their stars' lives through slave contracts.
그런 데이트 같은 걸 이제 못하게 하기 위해서 밖에를 아예 못 나갔었어요. 허락 없이 못 나갔었고, 저 같은 경우는 아빠가 제 생일이어서 회사로 얼굴 보고 싶다고 찾으러 왔었는데도 회사에서 못 만나게 했었어요. 그룹을 만드는데 들어가는 돈을 다 이제 갚아야지만 그때부터 수익이 나는 거기 때문에 그거를 언제 갚지? 이런 생각은 했었었죠. 회사가 60%, 70% 가져가고 수출은 또 5대5예요.
And there's definitely a dark side to this industry with stories of exploitation, corruption, and mistreatment.
本当に力が出なくて貧血は起こすし、いや本当に死ぬかと思いましたね。いや。
In 2019, K-pop star Seung Lee departed from the boy band Big Bang and retired from the entertainment industry after a prostitution scandal that ensnared other celebrities. The scandal also uncovered allegations of drug trafficking and police corruption within the industry.
I'll link some articles if you want to learn more. For K-pop to be such a massive industry, there's a lot also going on the consumer side. It's become more and more apparent over the years the sheer influence that K-pop fans wield in and out of pop culture today. There's quite an age range of K-pop fans. Generally, Gen Z is seen as the face of the fan base because younger fans tend to be more outspoken and active on social media. With that, there's this perception that K-pop fans, and this carries over to how society dismisses boy band fans in general, are crazy and rabid fangirls. It reminds me of this quote from Harry Styles, who was asked whether he felt pressured to prove himself as a serious musician with an older crowd. Who's to say that young girls who like pop music, short for popular, right, have worse musical taste than a 30-year-old hipster guy? Young girls like the Beatles. You gonna tell me they're not serious? Lots of bands owe their rise to young female fans who flocked to artists before the mainstream media would accept them. Of course, the K-pop fan base has its share of problems. There have been complaints about toxicity in the fan community, ranging from factional disputes to fans who commit borderline criminal acts to get their stars' attention. But overall, regardless, it is still reductive to see K-pop fans as a monolith or dismiss them as hysterical, shallow, or incapable of thinking critically. K-pop fans are not just consumers, they're activists.
Bombarding the hashtag White Lives Matter, a social media hashtag with ties to white supremacy. They do it by posting so fast and feverishly that they drown out everything else. When Whiteout Wednesday became a racist rebuke to the success of the Blackout Tuesday movement, the K-pop army struck again, flooding Twitter and Instagram with fan videos and memes in an attempt to drown out the racist posts.
They also kind of funnily registered en masse for one of Trump's rallies in order to lower his attendance.
The same month, fans of BTS also raised more than $1 million for Black Lives Matter.
Again, like it or not, K-pop is an increasingly prominent fixture in US or really global pop culture today. I have this Korean friend who thinks it's so funny when people ask her whether people in Korea are also as into K-pop. She's like, K-pop in Korea is just pop music. It's like asking someone here if they had heard of Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber. Ask me a decade ago if I would have expected songs in another language to make it this big in the US, and I probably wouldn't have gotten it. Honestly, I still don't really get it sometimes, but I respect it. And now you can too. Or at least you'll be less confused by all the Stan Luna fan cams under every viral tweet. In which case, I'll have done my job. Alright, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and make sure to fight me in the comments. See y'all.
Red lip, now. Earrings, now.
Just close your lips, shut your tongue.